How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the IGDC podcast, where we talk to creatives, photographers, and artists around DC. This week, we have an incredible guest. Well, I'm just going to introduce him right off the bat. Austin Graff, incredible local photographer, man around town, father, husband, writer, everything under the sun. There's nothing you can't describe him with. I'm your host, Andy Filicotti. You can find me on Instagram, some guy, and I'm here with Holly Gardner.
Hi.
Who you can find on Instagram under Go Lightly. And Austin, how can we find you on Instagram?
Hi, everyone. I'm pumped to be here. And you can find me at Austin K, which is my middle initial, obviously, Graff. Austin K, Graff.
Okay, that sounds...
Yeah, Graff, not to be confused with grass. A lot of people think it's grass, but it's Graff, F as in Frank.
We'll also include a link to his username. And also, hopefully you already follow him. So
they already follow.
And if you follow Austin, you know he's always around town, seeing everything and posting all in his stories. I just got to ask, how do you get around town? You're everywhere. I don't even know how you have this much energy.
Good question. I do have a lot of energy, which I'm grateful for. And but I love exploring the town, and I actually like to do public transit. So even though I could use like Lyft or Uber, I try to bike everywhere, even when it's snowing. I grew up in Russia my whole life, so even when it snows, it's no big deal. My winter coat is a very light jacket. So even in the dead of winter, I try to bike everywhere. And DC is actually a pretty like small city. Like my first year living in DC, I just metroed, and I thought it was like a huge city. And then when I stopped metroing and decided to bike everywhere, I'm like, oh wait, you can like go from Chinatown to like Mount Vernon Square in like 2 minutes. Whereas on the metro, I thought it was like miles away.
Oh yeah.
So I try to, totally. So I always try to bike. I try to run, and actually like the metro, despite its problems. I really do enjoy the metro and grateful for it, and the bus. And what helps actually is my family is into the Fitbit challenge, and so every week we try to compete against each other, and we're very competitive. And I have to win, and not just like by like a few thousand steps. Like I want to like slaughter them, and so that is actually inspiration to explore. It's like you can't compete because I live in DC, and I'm going to get at least 25,000 steps a day so that I could win.
What's the most amount of steps you've gotten in a week?
In a week? Good question. My daily record has been 78,000 steps.
In one day?
Yeah, but actually not in DC. That was when I was exploring Seattle and playing with my nephews who wanted to go on like 5 bike rides. And I was like, and I got up at 4 a.m. to go on a 3-hour run. So I wouldn't recommend it, but that's my record. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yep. Yeah, but it was like a slow run because it was raining and it was in the forest in Seattle, which I'm terrified of wildlife. And I was convinced a bear was going to kill me. But I survived, and here we are today.
Like we said, he has lots of energy.
I do.
I assume you were well caffeinated that day.
Yes, I was. And actually, there's a lot of some good members of the IGDC community that are on Fitbit as well. Like DC City Girl is big into it, and a few others.
Thanks, Mister, for meowing there.
We're literally doing this in Andy's kitchen, which is amazing, and he has 2 amazing cats.
And luckily, Megan's hiding him. But that's really just insane. I think the most steps I've done is like 30,000, and I was like,
that's good, 30,000. So, yeah. Apparently, I recently read a Washington Post article where I work about how the average that they calculated may not be correct, but at least as it stands, the average American gets 5,000 steps. The average active American gets 10,000 a day. So 30,000 is good.
Yeah, that's one day of my life.
That's true. That's not every day. Come on, Andy. Come on.
So we have to ask everybody, what year did you join Instagram and why?
Good question. So I've never been an early adopter of things. So Instagram started in 2010, was it?
Yep.
And I started October. Okay. And I think I started late of 2011 after one of my friends was on Instagram, and she was like one of the first users, and she would post photos. And one day I went to her, I'm like, have you heard of Instagram? She's like, yes. Like I've like posted daily photo for a year. And at the time I really wanted to like get into photography, had always been interested in it. And I had a kind of a weird style then where I really liked taking photos crooked. So every time I went on a trip, especially internationally with friends, I would travel with these 2 photographers, and they would take amazing photos. And then I would post my photos on Facebook at the time, and then later Instagram, and they all were slightly crooked, which I thought was a cool artistic style. But they would always make fun of me, and I never understood why. And now that I know a little bit better, it's like, oh, that's like breaking all the rules. But if you go to some of my earlier posts, you'll see some crooked photos, which I haven't, like, now that I am more into Instagram, I haven't gone to delete my original post. So you can see my very first post, which is like not good at all, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Same. I have not deleted much at all on my feed. So
Yeah,
Let's go.
I think it's good. I think it's good to keep the old ones.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I truly think like social media, including Instagram, is about authenticity and connecting with people. And if that's who you were then, crooked photos and all, that's who you are. That's your authentic self. So I will hopefully never delete those unless people make
And
fun
you
of me.
mostly use your phone. Like you've never used a camera ever.
Yeah, no, never. Actually, this year my
Wow.
wife was like,
That's insane.
and I have a list of things I want to do before, which I intentionally left out before I die, because it's like before whenever. It could be before I'm 80 or hopefully I don't live that long, or like before I'm 50
Wow.
or something like that. And one is, and I created it when I was like 7, and the first thing is buy a professional camera, which is interesting, and I haven't done that yet. And this year my wife is actually, she asked if I would want to get one, so I'm exploring, and I've asked a few people for recommendations, including people of IGDC.
Well, we have an article that might be of help for you.
That's right. Actually, I think someone sent.
What's that link?
We have a list of
We'll have
great
to link
cameras.
that.
for
Drop the
Instagram.
link here.
Yeah, I'll drop the link.
All right, awesome.
Speaking of the website, Austin also wrote a DC coffee guide for Instagrammers. Yeah, I don't even know how you went to all these places, but he's pretty much visited every coffee shop in DC and taken photos and reviewed the coffee. And I mean, how many cups of coffee are you having a day at this point?
Oh, so many. This is like my 5th, which I did not start drinking coffee until like 3 years ago. And now I can't
Really
stop.
ramping up on you.
Oh, it's crazy. And it's bad because I can't drink coffee unless there's sugar and cream in it.
Oh,
So it's like really bad for me.
do you ever get espresso, or are you always just get?
I did once, but it made me kind of like freak out. And so I'm like banned from ever having an espresso. I didn't have like a nervous breakdown, but I definitely like got more paranoid, and
Is this like
I've never been
Austin
like that
on
before.
Red Bull? Have you
Yes,
ever had a
yes.
Red Bull?
I actually, yes. Red Bull, and my drink of choice in college was a Jaeger bomb, which includes Red Bull, and I actually still like
This
those.
oddly explains a
After
lot.
the podcast, we'll go to H Street and get a Jaeger bomb.
8th Street is definitely a good place for.
Yes,
It's
that
where
is
you go for
true.
a Jaeger.
It's so true.
This is awesome. So because you don't have a camera, you have your phone always. That's, the camera you have is the best camera you can have, right?
Yeah.
It's like the one that's on you. How you explore your city and your world so thoroughly. How did you, or why did you decide to bring photography into it? Why did you decide to just start
Yeah.
taking photos of everything,
Yeah.
sharing it with everybody?
Yeah, so I initially started because I just wanted to like learn photography, and since I had my phone, and now phones have cameras in them, and they're actually decent cameras, at least on the iPhone. I use that to kind of teach myself and learn from others, and that's why I like Instagram, is I can learn from other people. Like someone recently on Instagram edited a whole bunch of photos and put that like on YouTube and put it in his like Instagram story, and that was like interesting. And so I've learned a lot from just watching other people, you both included, and then having my phone in my pocket, I can just get it out and start to experiment. So I started that way, and then it also started through a test where I realized that I was on my phone a lot. And even when I was walking, and I'm like so clumsy, and I've been hit by several cars in my life. Nothing serious, but it scares my friends. And watching other people do this now that I'm trying not to do that as much, like it's no wonder there's more accidents. Like people will just go into the street on their phone, and I used to do that, and I would miss all the details and would miss some amazing things about my city. So it started out as a test of like, okay, like one, I can put my phone away, which is kind of ironic because then to take photos, I take out my phone, but I try to keep my phone in my pocket and just like observe and watch. And then I notice like different speakeasies or different like corners. And then to remember it, I try to take a photo of it. So I think Instagram and photography has forced me to see DC in a new light, like every day. As cheesy as that sounds, but it is very true. It like makes
totally
me
agree.
fall in love with the city every single day. And I've been here for 12 years and I'm not bored yet living in DC.
It's true. That's how I got into Instagram. Is like it made me have a new love for the city because you're looking at things differently because you're trying to figure out how to present it on your feed. Or like when I first started, my feed was awful, but it just motivated and inspired me to get out and revisit all those places that I had seen with, family in town. You go to all the tourist things, but then you don't do them on your own. So it kind of got me back out and doing that stuff. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, do you normally edit your photos or?
I do, yeah. So I edit it within the Instagram app usually.
Yeah.
And
the tools have gotten really good now.
yeah, the tools are great. And at first I couldn't do that. And at that stage of my life, I also didn't care. And I was so new and taking crooked photos that I would just post whatever, and they're awful. But now and I'm grateful that now that I'm more interested in it, Instagram has upped their game in terms of editing as well. So I'll just edit it in the app. I do have Photoshop on my computer for work because I need that for work. And so I have yet to post an edited photo from there on Instagram. So what I post on Instagram is just edited with an app. And I also for me, also with my job, I can't do sponsor posts, things like that. And but I also enjoy that where I will turn down requests for sponsor posts. And part of that is also just for me, it's a hobby, and I always wanted to keep it as a hobby. And that forces me to post whatever I want, and versus being obsessed with, is someone gonna like this? Because sometimes I'll post something and I like it, and people are like, oh, I don't really care. Especially about the neighborhood I live in, I think is cool, but there's yet to have some cool things happen to the neighborhood. So if I post a photo from there, some people are like, oh, what? They just don't like it.
This isn't
so,
DC.
Yeah, so it's nice that it's a hobby where I'm oh, I don't care because I want to post about my neighborhood.
Yeah,
so.
the photo walk down in that area was really interesting. I've never really been there, so
yeah, no, that's fun. Yeah, recently we did a photo walk there, and
we're talking about Southeast DC.
Yes, yeah, Southeast DC, yeah, Southeast down there, east of the river, Southeast DC, and Anacostia, which I live close to.
And they're getting their first Starbucks too.
Yes, we are. And actually, I just found out, so we're getting our first standalone Starbucks, which for that neighborhood is a big deal. I moved from Capitol Hill, and if I found out that we were getting a Starbucks, I'd be I definitely won't go there because there's all these other great coffee shops there. But for that neighborhood, that's huge, and that's actually going to be a training Starbucks for the area.
Oh, wow.
And so most baristas will start out there, which also means the Starbucks is cheaper. And so incentive to go to Anacostia through. So I'm such a nerd. I love my neighborhood. I'm part of a paying member of our neighborhood association, and I go to their meetings.
Oh, wow.
And so at these meetings, I learn so many things about our neighborhood, which is a lot of fun.
But I think that what we've learned about you over the years of getting to know you and being friends with you is that you have a deep desire to explore everything about your surroundings. You're an elite Yelpist, is it right?
I am, Yelp elite.
I mean, you clearly and are driven to not only explore for yourself, but to share what you find with whoever's reading or following or looking at your accounts. So why do you do this? I mean, why do you have such a drive to seek this stuff out, learn from it, and support it by highlighting it and kind of lifting it up in your own?
Yeah, good question. I think it was initially my upbringing. So I'm an American, but grew up in Muslim Russia my whole life. And even before that, my family would move often. And then my parents being American, we visit the United States once every 5 years. And I went to boarding school in Germany, and I've traveled a lot just because of that lifestyle. And when you move around a lot, you can choose to either have a bad attitude about that, especially as a kid, or a good attitude. And often I choose the bad attitude route. And so, but then once I got there, I realized, oh, this is actually an interesting place. I would go out and explore. So all growing up, any place we visited or even moved to, I would go out and try to explore the cool things of a city, even if it wasn't a cool place at all. There has to be something cool about it. And I'm glad my parents taught me that, or kind of forced me to have that mindset. Whereas now, I do think wherever you live, you can make the most of it for at least 2 years. There'll be enough of 2 years of content to explore, even if it's this tiny town. And DC, it's constantly changing, and it's interesting to see the businesses that come in here, but also the people of DC I find the most fascinating. And then getting to know them and their passions, you then get to introduce to the businesses they like, or the bars they like to hang out at, or the neighborhoods they're passionate about. And so it forces me to have a good attitude about where I live and not kind of get stuck in this mundane routine of life. And which is why I explore and try to do photography, because it's more, I guess, for me to force myself to fall in love with DC every day.
Yeah, especially biking and stuff, you definitely are going to see more than the average person.
Yep, and I did get involved. I moved into DC in 2007 and was the biggest advocate of it. And I first moved to a neighborhood called Ballston in Arlington, Virginia, which at the time I thought was so cool, and I would always tell people about it. And now that I moved into the city, everyone's like, dude, like Boston's like not that great. And like if you live there, like I don't want to offend anyone. I actually enjoyed it when I was there, but I moved from there to Mount Pleasant in Northwest, a neighborhood I love, and just became obsessed with DC. But even Boston, I found some cool things there, and I always want to have that mentality. But after a few years since I moved to DC, there was like probably 6 months where I had such a bad attitude. I forget why, but I'm like, you know what? I actually don't like DC. And I remember a friend who would often visit that she visited, and she's like, this is the first time you've been like negative about DC. And she was really concerned. But I'm grateful to say there was only 6 months out of my now 12 years that I did not love DC so much. The rest I truly have loved, and I continue to love it. And even having moved to Southeast DC, I love it even more because it's such a different place, and it's a big enough city where you have everything, but small enough where you can get to know your neighborhood and invest, but also bike from Southeast DC to Northeast DC, then to Northwest, and then Southwest, and see the entire city.
It's so fascinating. I didn't realize that you moved around so much, and so I see how you are with your daughter now. She just turned 2, correct?
She did, yep, Tuesday.
So I love to see, now that I know that, like I can totally see you doing the same with her. You're taking her on all these journeys with you and adventures, and I often see you posting like, we were up at dawn or whatever because she gets up at that hour. So how do you navigate as a parent to a young child? Like, how do you navigate not making your Instagram feed completely about Addie?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, so many parents, their feed becomes their kid.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think
she makes appearances.
She does.
She's not.
Yeah, I wanted to be very intentional about that because, for one, I've been very open in my writing and on my social media about the fact that Addie was a surprise baby. I'm a wife and I truly do love children, but we're truly not planning on having our own. And so we're in the 1% that had a child that wasn't expecting it. And so I think part of that, because we never wanted our own children, we didn't want to have our entire identity wrapped around it. And also being in the other side of not having kids, like I love my friends who have children, but I don't want to see your kids all the time on social media. And I still love them, but a lot of my friends, like, and myself as well, still are like, great, like your kid said their first word, like every kid says their first word. And so I wanted to go into that. I wanted to be sensitive to people who like either aren't like don't have children or don't want kids or don't like kids. And so I wanted to make sure that Addie would, of course, I love being a dad now that I am a surprise dad, but like I love her and I want to honor her. But I don't want my feed just to be about like photos of her. So she actually does have her own Instagram account because my mother wants me to post all the time about Addie, and that's a private account that people who know her can follow. But I'm not as consistent there. But for my feed, like I want to make sure at least like Addie's not in it all the time. So I was scrolling through my feed recently and I posted about her because it was her birthday, and then one previous one before that. But then there was a wide gap.
She gets one time a year.
Yeah, once a year. Yeah, sorry, Addie, you can suck it up. Just kidding.
Well, we always love because you bring her to Insta meets occasionally.
I do,
and it offers us new material. We can take photos of her running around.
Yeah,
a great time.
And that's been fun in DC because I think compared to other cities, especially like in the Midwest where my family now lives, there's so many children, and I'm always surprised that even some cities are just built around kids, and my DC-ness kind of comes out where recently I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan at a museum and in line for this interactive exhibit, and all these kids cut in line, and my like DC-ness came out being like, excuse me, like I don't care if you're 6, like I was here first, I've been waiting here forever. But in that city, like kids rule society, and so like the parents are like, dude, like they're 6, like let them cut in line. Whereas in DC, even if you have kids, like no, like I'm sorry, Addie, like you need to wait your turn. And so I'm grateful that in DC there aren't as many kids, and the society isn't kind of built around children, because there's a lot of people here who don't want to have kids or maybe can't have children. Like you have to be sensitive to all that. And so bringing her to Insta Meets, I've found that some people like don't want to be around kids, and that's totally cool. But a lot of people do, and since they're not with kids all the time, they are excited to go to like one Insta Meet like with a kid. So, and Addie does like to explore. I think especially being on maternity leave for my wife, and I had paternity leave, we both don't like staying inside. So even being new parents, we're like, we cannot hibernate. So we went to so many museums and would just take Addie with us. And now she truly loves going outside. At a recent snow day, we were inside for like 2 hours all going stir crazy. And Addie went to the door, got dressed, and said outside, like, we have to go. So we went outside and went to the Hirshhorn Museum. It was awesome. And so she definitely has her top 3 favorites. And we recently went to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which is one of her favorite museums. And that was a blast. And she just like ate it up. And we'll definitely go back there many times.
Do you still need tickets or?
I know, actually. So it's off season now. So they recently changed this. So up for this month through the end of February, during the week, Monday through Friday, you can just walk in anytime.
Oh, wow.
So on Tuesday, we did that, the first day back from the government shutdown. And so we welcomed everyone back to that museum. And Addie did realize it was her birthday and learned a few new words that day. And she literally went up to every security guard and went, Addie, birthday, sing. And literally every security guard sang her happy birthday, even the more cranky ones. And it was actually like really cool. And we had such a blast.
Good first day back for them.
Great first day back. So hopefully.
Does she show any sort of interest in photography when she sees you pull out the camera?
She does now, actually.
Yeah.
The last 3 months now, the moment I put out my phone, she runs up to me and goes, cheese, and makes a very cheesy, but I think adorable, and again, I'm biased, smile, which is really fun. So, and she does have her own phone, which is a remote control for these lights we have in her room. But she's always asking
about to
for
say,
Addie's phone,
what?
Addie's phone. I know, right? Yeah. She's on Instagram. She has her own iPhone.
In a car downtown?
Yeah.
Tesla soon.
Totally. This is the new generation right here.
And you do have a job, right? I mean,
I do. I know. People always ask. So, like, I think that's where a lot of the energy comes in place. And I love the Post, and they are a very flexible workplace. But I do actually have like a 9-to-5 job, and but a lot of jobs at the Post, and I think in general in city settings, you can kind of make your own hours. So my boss often lets me go to different events, and I just like make up the hours.
oh, that's amazing.
And and also working downtown, I love working downtown because it's so close to so many different neighborhoods in DC. So it actually makes it, when you bike, you can bike from downtown to DuPont in just a few minutes, to the National Mall.
So you bike from Southeast to the
I do.
Post
Yes,
every day?
I do.
Like even today?
So not today because it was snowing.
Okay.
And it was actually really icy. I like slipped twice. So I'm like, I will eat it.
So
if
the
I try to
temperature
bike.
doesn't affect you, but the snow will.
Yeah, the snow will. Yeah, because it makes it slippery. And because I'm so clumsy, I would probably get hit by a car.
It's like a 5-mile bike ride, right? Or,
It is, yeah. And actually, one advantage of Southeast as well is I do Capital Bike Share. I'm an original member of Capital Bike Share.
Okay.
Proud of that.
That makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah, and they're awesome bikes, but now they have electric bikes, and which are hard to find west of the river, but east of the river at my dock, almost every day there is
wow.
a electric bike, and that cuts down. I can bike from Southeast DC to the Washington Post in 12 minutes.
Oh, wow.
On an electric bike.
Yeah.
awesome.
Which is faster than the metro.
I
faster
see them
than the
all
car.
the time, but I'm always like, I never see them at the dock, and I'm like,
Yeah. That or they're always broken. Whereas
Oh.
literally in Fairlawn specifically, at the intersection of Minnesota and Pennsylvania, you'll always find a electronic bike. I should not have said that.
Secret's
Now I
out.
know. Now someone's gonna take it. Take it.
When do you wake up? Like 4 a.m. waiting there for it to show up?
I know. I should. Actually, that's one advantage for us, like being parents, because Addie wakes up early, and it's forced me to be a morning person. So now I'm like, great. I have I'm a night owl. So now I have even more hours to explore because I get up so early.
Like, how many hours of sleep do you get a day?
I get 7. So I've realized that, which isn't too bad. So most days I get 7.
I feel like you're up 22 hours a day.
I know sometimes
much
it
as you
does.
do.
It does feel that way. So I did go to a gym class that's really early. It starts at 5 a.m. And so
Wait. You go to the gym,
I do.
and then you bike.
Yeah, yep.
And
yeah.
then-
So that's
okay.
part of getting 20,000 steps a day at a minimum. Is I have to do that. I have to go to the gym, and I also, I think the one advantage of having a surprise baby, both my wife and I are pretty independent. So like, great, like because it's not part of our entire identity, let's preserve other parts of our identity. So we have a whole system in place where once a week I get a free night where I can go out and do whatever I want. And sometimes I just do that and explore. I'll like call a friend and we'll just like grab our phones or cameras and go to a neighborhood and just explore. And that's my free night. And then my wife gets a free night. We go on one date night every week, which could look different. Sometimes it's like at home watching Netflix and chilling. And just kidding.
This is a PG.
Just kidding. I know. Totally. Just kidding. And or sometimes it's meeting up with friends, but it's like it's a date night for she and I. And then we have an extra night, and then weekends we'd be strategic. But because we're both independent and value that, we are very much like a team. So we do like true co-parenting where we also want to work out. So she gets to go to her class, I'm with Addie, and then I got to go to my class when she's with the baby. So it makes it a lot more manageable. Again, I say that having just one. And I understand for the parents out there, when you have more than one, it complicates things, but we're enjoying life.
Yeah, you're
with just
making it
one.
sound just like such a breeze. Like, yeah, got all this time, got all this sleep. I'm at the
Totally,
gym.
right? Though, to be honest, like when we found out we were going to be surprise parents, so many parents had horror stories where it made us wonder, like, does anyone enjoy being parents? And even like to this day, some of my friends, they look like a bus hit them every day because they have like 3 kids. And then they tell me they're going to have a 4th kid. And I'm like, and they're excited about it. They don't seem excited about it, but they're like saying they're excited about it. But I'm always like, dude, like you look like a bus hits you every day. And so I'm grateful that I just have one, but it's because of all the horror stories. We thought it would be a lot harder than it's been. And Addie's a more chill child, which makes it easier. But I'm glad that people told us it would be the worst thing ever, because it's not the worst thing ever. And so now we have a different baseline.
Okay, so we all know that you travel a lot. You travel a lot for work and just for your own pleasure, right? You all make an effort to go on family vacations. You started when Addie was pretty little, like
It's true.
very young, I think.
Very young, yeah.
So how do you approach your travel itinerary? Do you approach it from a photography standpoint? Do you think about, I have this trip coming up, how am I going to approach what I see and do? Do you look at it through like a lens, or do you just sort of happen to have your lens with you and you document it?
Yeah, kind of a mix of both. So because travel is so important to both my wife and I, both she and I travel probably once every 4 weeks for our jobs. And then we personally travel a lot. And my wife works in the hotel industry, so it makes traveling a little bit easier, which is nice. But our first trip with our daughter was when she was 12 weeks old. We went to Cuba, and I documented that for the Washington Post. And that trip was very much, actually played to her advantage because she was so young. She just slept all the time. And so we just strapped her to our chest and we just walked for hours and hours and hours. Because actually having a kid is actually easier to travel if you just walk, which is perfect. Because for me, that means I can just strap her on and go to alleys, and as creepy as that sounds, and just like walk for hours and hours. And to me, that's vacation. That's what I love about traveling. So probably a mix of both. And I did do some research beforehand. I love the website Atlas Obscura because it has some of like the most, I like the random things in a city. And usually they're the best things to photograph.
That
So I'll do
explains
some
why
research.
your stories are so great with so much detail and like things like that. Like
Exactly.
You're always
That and
researching.
research. Yeah, I love research. Actually, me and a guy named Frenchie Yankee on Instagram, who's gone to some IGDC events, we were talking how we both love research, and you find the best things. And even like today in a meeting that I was multitasking, I was paying attention at the meeting, but I was going in on Google Maps in a different neighborhood called Marshall Heights, which is in Southeast DC, and just going street by street and seeing what I could find. And that's a good way to research local blogs, Atlas Obscura, and I try to plan out an itinerary, but my wife likes to not have an itinerary at all. So we try to do a mix of both. But I do approach it from a photography lens where like, what are the things I definitely want to go in and photograph, especially if it's an abandoned building. I love abandoned buildings. They're so cool to photograph. And there's some amazing abandoned things. Even in DC, actually, in my neighborhood, there's a few abandoned houses that are really fun to photograph.
Do you go inside?
I have, yeah, which recently this
legally,
one,
you can't disclose this.
yeah, I know. Shoot, am I gonna get in trouble? There is one. It's actually amazing. It's on a hill in Southeast DC in a neighborhood called Randall Heights, which has amazing historic homes, and it was abandoned for years. And it's a huge property right by a school on a hill overlooking the whole city, so you can see everything. And there was a small like crack that someone did eventually open, and so I was able to slip through there. And it's multi-levels, and I think growing up in Russia, I'm a little bit more fearless. I'm like, all right, even if I get hurt, it's worth it. So explored all the rooms and like
For the gram.
yeah, anything for the gram, truly. And it was amazing. And there's a barn in the backyard. But a few months ago, it got sold to a developer, and they're going to tear down the whole thing and build something else.
Yeah, Starbucks
Hopefully a coffee shop.
drive-thru,
Yeah, another Starbucks.
Mixed use condo building.
Yeah, probably. But so there's not as many left, but there are a few abandoned places, especially in Southeast DC. So
Well, Austin, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been a good talk.
yeah, thanks for having me.
How
You
can
guys are
people-
awesome.
How can people find you? What do you prefer? Twitter, Instagram?
Definitely Instagram. And again, it's Austin K. Graff with an F. 2 Fs, not an S.
And same on Twitter and everything else?
Yes, yeah, consistent
Awesome.
on Facebook, on Twitter as well,
And Yelp.
then
Yelp
on
elite.
Yelp as well. Yeah, I love being a Yelp elite and Google Maps as well. Which you're a Google guide, right?
yes.
A local guide.
It's a lot of fun to upload to all those sites.
Oh, it's so funny. It's all based on point systems, so which motivates me. And it's all just like holding the carrots in front of you, and it's amazing. But definitely follow IGDC as well, and Some Guy and Go Lightly as well, because they're awesome. And truly, they're inspiration, which is why I was honored to be on this podcast. I think everyone in DC follows both of you and have learned a lot about this city, but also people and photography from the both of you. So thank you.
Appreciate it, Austin.
And we
Thank you so
really
much.
loved having you, so thank you for taking the time.
Let's do it again.
Stay wired.
Stay wired. That's right. Keep on exploring.